They can have Ayuk, they can have Mac Jones, they can have a first.
They're not out of the playoff hunt, I'm telling you now.
They just ran it down the Eagles' throat.
That is a true wide receiver one in the league.
You generally don't win games going backwards.
I mean, Max Brosmer made Jake Browning look like Tom Brady.
Welcome back to the Early Hours podcast. And guys, welcome back to the UK. Is it good to be back? I feel like it might be. What a week that was. 4 football games, 3 in the NFL in 1 week in the States. Loads of memories. What was your favourite? For me, has to be the UCLA tailgating. Got the hoodie on to prove it. Loads of friendly people, great vibes. Maybe one too many beers, especially inside the stadium. $18 is a bit of a joke, but a great day nonetheless at the Rose Bowl. Shame about the result, but yeah, what was yours?
The Bruins games were fantastic. I know we spoke about it a bit on last week's, but yeah, that was just completely different to what we saw everywhere else. For me, I think it was probably the national anthem at Levi's. They had the flyover as well. There was just so much emotion in the air, and I think that resonated even with us, which was, sort of a once-in-a-lifetime sort of thing to see for us.
Definitely. Echo both of those. The tailgate was unbelievable. The flyover just blew us away, and the anthem and stuff, like you said, incredible. Felt American for a moment during it. But yeah, speaking of Americanism, wow, Thanksgiving, just incredible. Like, we'd landed in Detroit, just such a quick turnaround. It was all just so hectic, and then boom, next minute we were at Ford Field. We were outside, and such a blur of a trip. I couldn't quite believe it when Goody went, "That's Tom Brady." I said, it can't be. And lo and behold, obviously Fox were there. They were doing their coverage, and quite literally Tom Brady and Gronk were about 2 meters away from us at best. So just, yeah, some incredible photos, incredible memories, met some incredible people. And yeah, just to stick a win over the Lions was just, an absolutely incredible memory.
Well, look, let's get on to us sticking it to the Lions. Thanksgiving, an amazing game. Lions 24, Packers 31. Come on, the boys. Great to travel all that distance and actually come away with the win. But like you say, what an experience. Ford Field, great little stadium, right in the heart of downtown. It's definitely different to the other stuff that we'd done that trip, because we didn't have to trek, 50 miles to get to a stadium. So that was really good. But it was his own little tailgate. The Americans do it differently. It was an outside broadcast with Gronk and Brady just throwing hats and balls into the crowd. That was a really cool experience there. But look, let's talk about the action on the field. Jordan Love, he threw for 234 yards, 4 touchdowns. He balled out, and we beat the Lions.
100%, and 0 interceptions, don't forget. So incredible performance. And you mentioned the 4 touchdowns, 2 of which were on 4th down. So
that's not like us.
He had a baller game. We do have to say, though, controversial call from the referee on the Wicks touchdown. And I think we're all sort of in agreement, but we'll let it slide. Listen, it's not very often a team comes up against the Detroit Lions and goes for it on not only more 4th downs, but converts more 4th downs. So incredible performance. We moved to 8-3-1. It puts us right in contention against none other than the Bears this week for the number 1 seed, although we'll probably lose that. It's only a very short period of time before the Rams take to the field that same day. But look, let's revel in it. Let's enjoy it. Come on, it's the NFC North. It's the NFC as a whole. There is a lot to play for, and just a monumental day, monumental win.
Definitely. One of my biggest takeaways actually from Ford Field, coming into the Lions Den as a Packers fan, was just how quiet it was. Like, there was times where I was questioning if that was actually like a completion or even a touchdown, because everyone else around us was just dead silent. They were hating it that the Packers were giving it large on Thanksgiving, and they weren't happy as well when Amon-Ra went down looking like he's out for at least 3 weeks.
Yeah, well, we just seemed to leverage so many of the big downs. 1 minute it was 3rd down, and there was sort of absolute silence, but quite tension. And next minute it was 1st down again. We were just making such big stretches in the game, and we spoke about that. We talked about how the Packers were going to have to stretch the field, and look, Wicks, Watson, they came up big. Jacobs controlling that line of scrimmage, I think just shy of 100 rushing yards, and it was an amazing day. So yeah, crazy environment.
the Lions actually needed to learn from their week 1 performance, because there was a few routes and plays that we made in that week that we played again, and we stuck it to them again. Like that throw from Love to Watson for that touchdown, we did that in week 1, and they still didn't learn. Other Thanksgiving games, though, on that Thursday, the Cowboys beating the Chiefs 31-28, and the Ravens, they lost to the Bengals. The Bengals scoring 32-14 there. Joe Burrow back. Which of these caught your eye?
For me, the interesting one actually was the Ravens-Bengals, mainly with, obviously, Burrow versus Lamar, but didn't actually get much of a game. Lamar Jackson continuing this poor run of form. He's now 0 touchdown in 3 games, and he was 0 for 1 and only threw 17 completions. It wasn't great, but Joe Burrow looked really good. To say he's just come back from quite a long time out, it's fair to say. He looked really good. Got straight back into the swing of it with Jamar Chase, and Chase Brown looking good as well. So if they can get T. Higgins back, obviously he's out with a concussion, which was quite a scary incident. They've got a very outside chance in the AFC North, because no one wants to win it. You've got the Ravens and the Steelers at the top of that, but even though the Bengals are 4-8, they've got a very outside chance of winning that division. And who knows, if they can get all the guys back, they're probably not a team you want to come up against in the wild card.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? Because Burrow, like I say, coming back, 261 passing yards for him. We had the same conversation a couple of weeks ago when the Ravens were having this run of form. They were having a second half resurgence to their season after basically all of us had counted them out. I think they're 6-6 now. Can the Bengals do that again? Can they maybe get to the playoffs? Who knows? Oliver, I assume you're going for the Cowboys, considering you're their number 1 fan this season.
Absolutely. Look, they delivered. They delivered in a huge game. 2 teams that are both in the playoff hunt. One team that is looking to avoid not being in the playoffs for God knows how many years. And it'd be the first time Mahomes hasn't made the playoffs if he is to drop out. So monumental stakes. And look, the Cowboys nicked it. The Chiefs were their own issue, really. They were their own sort of hurdle throughout the game. So many penalties, flagged 10 times. And I think it amounted to just shy of 120 yards worth of penalties, which, listen, I don't know about you guys. I know football relatively well. You generally don't win games going backwards. So
that's true, actually. 120 yards is at least the width of the football field as well.
You can't do it,
cost themselves their own touchdown.
You can't do it, and it wasn't for the want of trying. Mahomes throwing touchdowns, going for decent yards. I think over 250. You just didn't quite amount to the same performance as Dak Prescott. Went for over 300, 2 touchdowns, really high completion rate. CeeDee Lamb, very efficient. I just think on the day the Cowboys did what they needed to do, and definitely, like I said, I know you bang on them and joke with me about it, but kept themselves in that top offense conversation. They're not out of the playoff hunt. I'm telling you now, watch out for the Cowboys in the NFC playoff race.
Okay, well, look, 2 other teams that are in the playoff race. In Week 13, the Eagles losing to the Bears, 15-24. The Bears, they've now gone 9-3. What the hell? And then Eagles, they've dropped to 8-4 now, blowing the NFC wide open. We'll talk about the Packers game on Thursday, because that's a massive, massive game for the NFC North itself. But are the Bears the real deal now, beating the Super Bowl winners?
I think when we saw this, obviously you've got 2 8-3 teams. You've got the defending champions Eagles against the serial losers, if we're honest, recently the Bears. And
Say it
you look
again.
at the Bears. Well, I know exactly. I mean, we won't be saying that for many years, I don't think now. But the Bears linebacker core just depleted, pretty much shot out. It looked like Saquon Barkley would run riot, but 13 carries for 56 yards. And on the other side of the ball, you had Monangai going for 130 and Swift 125. And the Bears didn't do anything flashy. They just ran it down the Eagles' throat. Caleb Williams wasn't amazing. There was no one in the receiving game. They were just so efficient and kept the Eagles from sort of moving the ball forward, if that as simple as it is. So as much as it's going to hurt you guys, they've just knocked off the defending champions. They are the 1 seed, and they could very well be the real deal. And if they can beat the Packers at the weekend, which is a massive ask, then they all of a sudden are genuine favourites to win the NFC.
I still, and I'm not, and I know I'm going to eat my words because this is the Bears and I sound like a hypocrite and all that kind of stuff. I still don't buy it. I think they're beatable. And I think it's actually more concerning for the Eagles season. We just spoke about the Cowboys. A couple of games go their way. Could we see them winning the NFC East? It's very possible, in my opinion. I really do. I think the Eagles are susceptible to a couple more losses. They come up against some good teams still. only thing I wanted to mention on that game is I definitely didn't have Ben Johnson taking his shirt off on my bingo card.
No, that was ridiculous. There's one thing seeing the Bears beat the Eagles. I didn't want to see that. I definitely didn't want to see Ben Johnson shirtless.
If he pulls a trick like that in Lambeau, he's done for. I tell you, we will eat him up. The Cheeseheads do not stand for stuff like that.
We definitely don't. Plus, it'll be quite cold. But let's just have a quick look. I know, like we said, we'll throw it to Thursday's episode more, but we haven't played the Bears this season. I'd like to think we can steamroll them, like you say, Oliver, but we play them like twice in 3 or 4 weeks coming up. So that will be a true test on who is worthy of winning the NFC North this season. Speaking of elsewhere in the NFC, a shock loss here for the Rams. The Panthers beating them 31-28. The biggest headline here is Matt Stafford doubling his interception record for the season, now going up to 4.
Crazy, absolutely crazy. I don't want to take away from Carolina's performance, and I think they're having a great season in their own right. In a pretty lackluster division that they could really claim now. But I just think it was a bad day at the office from the Rams. Efficient in their usual areas. We saw Tay getting a lot of the ball. We saw him pulling his usual quick releases and catching balls in the end zone for short yardage. Nakua with some blockbuster catches. They just similar to the Chiefs on the day, fell over themselves at times and gifted the Panthers opportunities. You spoke about the interceptions there, Goody. You can't do that against what have been quite a productive team on offense the last few games. Even when we saw them at Levi Stadium, there was spells of being really productive. And yeah, Chuba Hubbard looks to be back. It's shame for the Rico Dowdle managers. It seems to be the Hubbard show again, but mixed bag. For me, not a particular standout game. I think the media took to it as an opportunity to slate the Rams, and don't be surprised to see the Rams bounce back this week.
No, I think you're right there. Like they looked really good against the Buccaneers at SoFi as well, the Rams, but maybe they overdid it and maybe they didn't leave enough in the tank for the Panthers side. On the flip side, you mentioned that a couple of blockbuster catches from Nakua. That was actually incredible. It wasn't quite the OBJ getting into the end zone, but I do not know how he managed to do that. And not only taking the ball down, he then managed to bring it into his chest to stop it from spilling when he landed. That is a true wide receiver 1 in the league. And then, speaking about other top NFC sides, the Seahawks 26, the Vikings a big fat 0. Ouch. Things are so bad in Minnesota now that Adam Thielen, he's asked to be released. And another week with no Justin Jefferson touchdown.
I think, to be honest, yeah, the Seahawks didn't look great. I'll be completely honest. I know I'm not a Seahawk fan, but the Vikings were just... Max Brosmer made Jake Browning look like Tom Brady. He was dreadful. And look, it's his first game. He's a rookie, so let's not jump on him too fast. But 4 interceptions, 4 sacks, and the Seahawks couldn't not win. It's the first shutout of the season, which is really unfortunate. We've been speaking to a Vikings fan who is just lost. And like you say, we've now seen Justin Jefferson be really frustrated. So is this the week where, JJ getting out of Minnesota, the rumours really fire up to the off-season? Because it's dreadful over there. JSN, Cooper Kupp, both really quiet. Sam Darnold really quiet, but they didn't need to do anything. I think us as a 3 could have beaten the Vikings on that day. So, yeah, the Seahawks go to 9-3, which is incredible, but nothing on record there that worries me. It's just, the Vikings might not win another game for the rest of the season.
Where does JJ go then? Who's up in those rumours?
Send T. Higgins the other way to Minnesota and a first. T. Higgins and a first for
You'll
Justin
need more
Jefferson.
than that.
Honestly, well, worst case, we're talking a first-round pick, we're talking T. Higgins and a second-round pick, and get Justin Jefferson over to Cincinnati. I think that would be an unbelievable move. I really do. So, yeah, it's a long way off. It's a long way off. And it's only the first year of J.J. McCarthy. If Jefferson sticks it out one more year, he's probably in a position, I think he'll be in a position to hit free agency the following year, which might suit him more in the market.
Jefferson likes hitting the griddy and scoring touchdowns. 2 touchdowns this season, and I've not seen many griddies. Smells, where do you think he's off? Probably the 49ers, knowing you.
Well, no, do you know what? They need a quarterback. Mac Jones did look great in that Vikings outfit. It's like the Sam Darnold redemption arc all over again, isn't it? And that was the other thing as well, don't forget. They've just watched Sam Darnold spank them after getting rid of him last year. But they can have Ayuk, they can have Mac Jones, they can have a first. However, I think we all agree that he might be a pat.
They've got the cap, they've got the trade collateral as well. They could move pieces if they needed to. Just on that point, quickly, of those 2 rematching and coming back and a reunion for Sam Darnold, did anyone catch the lip reader stuff on Kevin O'Connell in his ear at the end of the game saying, "We miss you, man," or "It sucks," or something like that.
I bet he does miss him.
It was crazy. I mean, listen, all speculation, but you heard it here first. Kevin O'Connell wants Sam Darnold back.
Rounding out this Week 13 review for the Sunday slate, at least, we've got the Commanders losing to the Broncos 26-27. This one going to overtime. My question is, are the Broncos the worst 10-2 team in the league?
Yes.
I'm sorry, but they just are, yeah.
So
It's crazy.
I was watching that game throughout the night, more because of the jet lag and I couldn't get to sleep, but also the fact that I needed Bo Nix to score like 4 points. And he made that difficult. He didn't score 4 points within the first half. I was like, what is going on, Bo?
I mean, it won't happen, unfortunately, unless the Bengals get through the first round. Let's say the Bengals get through the wild card, and the Bengals, who've had the rockiest of seasons, come up against them as the 7th seed, against the Broncos in that after a nice rested bye, Bo Nix, it's the Bo Nix and Sean Payton, and they get absolutely nailed. I think whoever they come up against, I think the wild card's going to have them on toast. I really do. I really do. If they come and play those final 7 teams, the top 7 teams this year, it's been that competitive across this league, and there's been that many fourth quarter wins for the Broncos. I think they're done. I really do.
Yeah, well, look, in the playoffs, anything can happen. You just got to beat who's in front of you in that moment. We know it all too well. Monday Night Football, then, that was last night. The Patriots continuing their run of form, now going 11-2. They beat the Giants 33-15. 2 things about this game worth a mention. Jackson Dart getting absolutely bodied on one of his runs, and also the worst field goal attempt I've ever seen.
100%. Jackson Dart, protect yourself, young man. You are a young star in this league. Please, we want to see a fully healthy Giants because, from a spectator's point of view, there's a lot to be desired. We've got Malik Neighbours, granted not his own fault. We've got Scatterboo causing yourselves issues, putting yourselves at risk, and then the injury comes after it, unfortunately. And the same could be said for Jackson Dart. Look, they've already lost Coach Dable. They could potentially lose their QB again for the short term. We don't want to be forced to Winston. And the big news from that game, reports suggesting still to be official, that Joe Schuing could be on his way out of the franchise, and they could be looking for a new general manager. So it's a shame because there was opportunities for them to potentially go after Lane Kiffin, who's obviously now been reported as the LSU head coach, and it could have been nice to partner him with a brand new GM and give the Giants a real fresh start next season with all their players healthy. But just a shameful and woeful performance yet again. I think they're just a mess at the minute.
Yeah, they are. Well, look, if you need any gardening done, give Young Ho Koo a shout because he absolutely ripped that turf a new one. Apologies, this episode's a little late this week. We're still adjusting back to that UK time zone, but it has allowed us to cover that Monday Night Football game, which was pretty good. Watch out for another episode where we preview Week 14 on Thursday, and we'll catch you then.